What's good, everybody? My name is Caesar.
And I'm Martha.
Welcome back to the lucky 13th episode of Inner Wider Screen, where
two idiots who know nothing about movies talk about movies.
So I want to start off with today's little riddle question for you.
Okay, all right. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Which rock group has 4 men that don't sing?
Okay, which rock group has 4 men
that they don't sing?
That don't sing.
I thought for today's movie this would be fitting. Fitting question.
Oh, I have a feeling that it has to do with science. And if I paid attention in science, I could answer this question.
Did you pay attention to science, though?
No, I did not. I had other things to do.
I had other priorities.
I had other priorities. Like what heels am I going to wear today?
I had the exact same question in my head, believe it or not.
That's what I figured, yeah. Okay. Rock group.
Yes.
As in rock formations. So, Mount Rushmore. Yes! I like that you could see the gears turning in my head.
I did as soon as you said rock formation. I was like, she got it. So were you playing me the whole time?
No, I genuinely didn't. I've never heard that before. I'm just that smart.
I haven't gone. Wait, no, the first
one you got.
I actually did get you with that one. The last one, my delivery was off.
Yeah, you delivered that.
I was like, what? White House is in the middle. It's like, no duh. Okay. All right. Well, I'll try harder next time. That was
proud of myself.
Yes, but speaking of rock groups, talking about a movie that has a lot of rock music in it, and this week we are talking about.
Oh yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No. Anyway, we are talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this one.
We're very excited too.
Yeah.
So this is directed by Edgar Wright. Great guy.
I love that.
So he directed the Cornetto trilogy, which is Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. He actually co-wrote. He has a co-writing credit on Ant-Man because he was supposed to direct Ant-Man, but he had creative differences with Marvel.
Interesting.
Which I kind of get because it's like I feel like he would want to bring something really creatively unique to the table, and Marvel's kind of like stick to the blueprint. I think
he could have definitely done something really interesting there.
So I guess maybe he still had a hand in some of the scripts, so he had a credit on there. After this, he did direct Baby Driver, and then he is now directing a documentary. It actually just came out last week called The Sparks Brothers. It's
heard that.
It just came out this past weekend, and it's about the band called Sparks.
Yes, I do know which one that is.
And I actually saw it already at South by earlier this year, and it was really good.
Really? Okay,
it was really cool to see him do a documentary with his style kind of in there, and I knew nothing about the band or anything, so check it out.
All right. Cool.
And then he's also later this year directing Last Night in Soho.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
Which should be really cool.
Yes.
So
I really like him. I think he's a really good director.
Really talented guy.
Yeah.
Love that.
So man. I'm very much looking forward to seeing that Last Night in Soho.
Me too. I don't remember when it's coming out, but it's this year at some point.
At some point, it'll come out. Yeah.
This has Michael Cera, our boy, Mary Elizabeth Winstead,
a girl,
Kieran Culkin, Chris Evans, Anna Kendrick, Alison Pill, Brandon Routh. Sure. And Jason Schwartzman. And there's even more people in this movie that aren't even listed in the cast list. There's Brie Larson, there's Aubrey Plaza.
There's so many.
A lot of amazing talented
really
people
great
in this.
Actors, yeah. Which I feel like, and maybe I'm getting timing wrong, but I feel like all of them at the time weren't very big.
No, this was 2000. Well, this was released on August 13, 2010. So, 2010, a lot of Brie Larson hadn't broken out yet. Neither did who else did I mention? Aubrey Plaza. Maybe I don't really know. I don't really know what point their careers were at this time.
True. We should do more research.
Do more research into that. I knew the only one. The one I know who was big was Michael Cera.
Yeah.
And this was made for $60 million. This bombed at the box office. It made $49 million worldwide.
I'm not surprised.
So this is the first movie we talked about that actually made way less than it actually was made for. This lost a lot of money. But the reason we're talking about it today is because even after that, despite it coming out, everyone who saw the movie loved it. Yeah. And it just developed into just a really big cult classic.
Yeah, cult classic for a reason. If you went in and when it first came out and it was just the best movie ever, then it's just a classic. It's just it's not a cult classic. No. It's the cult classic.
So the fact that everyone was still able to catch on to this was pretty crazy. And I wonder why. Like I said, I was only 10 years old when this came out, so I didn't know what it was. So I wonder why it did so poorly. For me, I feel if this came out today, I'd be I'll be there. I
think it was the vibes at the time.
Yeah.
Weren't quite the vibes that we have
today.
now.
That's true. I feel
which is why it's so loved right now.
Yeah.
And wasn't so much before.
That's true.
Wasn't the vibes before.
I think I do think if it came out today, it would do a lot better.
Oh, it would do so much better.
I think it would do a lot better. So, but thankfully, I think it's made a ton of money, shit ton of money.
I'm sure,
through sales afterwards. So,
I mean, even right now, they for the 10th anniversary of it.
Yes, they re-released it in theaters.
Yeah, they're doing that, and then they're also doing like an extended version of the soundtrack that they're releasing. Which I'm very excited for. We're gonna get a Brie Larson version of Black Sheep.
Is that already out?
No,
it's on Spotify. No?
It's Metric. Like Metric's, because that's Metric's song.
Yeah.
And so Metric is the one that sings it.
But I thought they put the Brie Larson version on Spotify.
Did they do it already?
I thought they already put it. I will look right now. I have Spotify open.
Interesting.
Because we want to clarify this. I remember like it being really exciting.
I mean, I saw news about it.
Yeah, Brie Larson vocal version right here.
Wow! I'm downloading that as soon as this is over.
I don't want to copyright. I just want to see. Go to album.
Okay. So
yeah, I don't know when they put it up, but it's up. It's up there. The expanded edition right here. Yes. Okay.
Cool. So I guess they're still making money off of it.
Yes.
In the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very proud of them.
Yeah. So let's just start off first with your first, like the first time you saw the movie. This is not your first time watching it, right?
No, not at all.
So when did you see this for the first time? What do you think?
I know it was later. It wasn't when it first came out in theaters.
Oh, it was the same for me. Yeah.
So, but I don't. It has to have been a few years ago the first time I saw it. So it's been a while. So I don't even remember the first experience. I just remember seeing it and absolutely loving it.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think it was like, I was on like a Michael Cera kick for like this one summer, and I was just only watching his movies for some reason.
I mean, there's some good ones in there. There's some ones I'm not a fan of that you like.
Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist.
I don't like that movie at all.
Don't get it twisted. That is an awful movie. It is horrible.
Do you just like it for the soundtrack? The soundtrack's pretty good.
I love the soundtrack for it. I have a whole Spotify playlist that is like, it's very Nick and Nora inspired.
Yeah.
And the picture is of Michael Cera hugging a cactus. That's my favorite picture of him.
Oh, I think I did see that playlist come up.
Yeah, it's called Please Step on Me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love it. It's a horrible movie, but I love Michael Cera so much. And Kat
Dennings.
Kat Dennings. I love her.
I really liked her in WandaVision recently.
Yes, she did a really good job. She's a fun gal. I like her a lot.
So yeah, I mean this era for Michael Cera was pretty crazy. It's super bad, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Juno, Nick and Nora, that movie Year One with Jack Black.
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
This one called Youth in Revolt. That was pretty much like the main era for him.
Yeah. So there was a point
which he played like the same character in all of them, basically.
Well, he's just got this face and this personality that really only fits one character.
Right. And oh my God, he played one of the brother bear in the Berenstein Bears.
That's great to know. Thank you.
Honestly, that's bigger than anything we were going to talk about today. Bigger than anything,
yeah. We're scratch this. We're only talking about the Bernstein Bears.
Yes. But yeah, anyways, I saw this for the first time in high school. I think I was 16, 15, something like that. And I really enjoyed it. I was overseas visiting my dad who was living there at the time, and it was like on their Netflix, but it wasn't on the US Netflix. So I got excited. And I really liked it. Yeah. So now watching it this time, I think I liked it a little bit more. Kind of about the same, but a little bit more, I think. And how did it change at all?
No, I don't think it's changed. I love this movie. Although I will say, looking at it like with like a very analytical set of eyes,
I think that's why I liked it more this time.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it more. Although there are some things that I do have some issues with. It is not a flawless movie, I will say that much.
Okay.
So
I'm very curious what your issues are, because I have something that I'm really excited to get into, which isn't necessarily an issue with the movie. It's just something I found interesting about the movie. But we'll get to that. Yeah. So you start off first with that 8-bit like Universal thing, which I thought was pretty cool.
That was awesome.
And then immediately from the beginning, I just love how literally every single frame is just like oozing like this is a comic book.
This is comic book energy. It's like, great.
I I just love when a movie like this is so deliberate. Literally every shot and edit it means something. It's purposeful.
Yes.
And like it gives you that vibe of a comic book, like right from the beginning, which is great.
There's just, I love that just in every frame, like so much is going on.
Yes.
Even though it's
foreground
just like,
and background, there's always something.
And the best part is that this is set in Toronto, Canada.
Yeah.
And but it just, they make it so, I don't even know, like,
yeah.
It's just so weird, and I just love it so much.
Why do you think they set it in Toronto? What's your...
Well, what's
your theory on that?
My theory is that it's in a way ironic.
Or is the graphic novel like is
I don't know where it's set.
I don't want to sound stupid. And the whole time it was just set there, and that's why.
But I think I feel like even if it was from the actual
he does live in Toronto in the comics, but I wonder why in the comics though from the first place.
I'm thinking it's ironic.
Ironic in what sense?
Well, first of all, this whole thing I feel like is like just goes for a lot of like irony and making it quirky in that way.
Yeah.
But I think like one, it's quirky. Toronto, Canada. Well, it's and then two,
very quirky, eh?
Quirky, eh? And I think just like it's just the way that they describe it and make it seem like it's like in a way like this like fantastical magical place because it's a comic book.
Yeah.
Like you're
viewing it through the lens of a comic book.
You're viewing it through the lens of a comic book, so it's not the Toronto, Canada you would see in real life.
Right.
And they make sure that you understand that
from the beginning.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of why it's like it's just a very random place to have set
have it. Yeah. I just thought it was interesting because I was like, most of these actors are American, and Edgar Wright's from the UK, so I wonder why they landed on Toronto, but it makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a very good theory for it.
It's just ironic. It's silly.
Yeah, absolutely. Silly. And then you have Michael Cera come in, and he's already, like I said, like he definitely has that iconic awkwardness that he brings to all his roles.
Absolutely.
And I just remember the first thing that stuck out to me when he was just talking about knives, and he was like, we almost held hands, but she was embarrassed.
Yeah, she was embarrassed. Okay, yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about that relationship. He's 22 years old, and she's 17. That is creepy as hell. That is.
It's very. I'll just get into that flaw I have, not necessarily with the movie, but the character.
Yes.
This man is a piece of shit.
Oh, he is awful. Okay, I think it's so funny that we get introduced, like normally when you see a movie, you have your main character and you try and establish them as like a good person, but with some flaws.
With some flaws.
That will be fixed at the end. This one is like, you don't want to root for this guy. He's an awful person. He's just terrible.
And I don't know why, but maybe the first time I saw this, I don't know that connection made it. Obviously, like, you know he's wrong for cheating and stuff, but it kind of makes him still like...
It makes more sense as you like...
And I think if you don't understand that he's a piece of shit, you're not understanding this movie fully.
Yeah.
You have to accept that when you're watching
You have to understand that he is just an awful person.
And I don't blame that on the movie. I think... There's a difference between a poorly written character and just a bad... Like a character that's bad. Like has bad things about him.
Yes.
I don't think he's poorly written.
No, he's written very well. It is very specific.
It's on purpose, obviously. They know he's a piece of shit, but it's just like...
That's the whole
he's just a piece of shit. He's written to be a piece of shit. Yes.
He's horrible.
Because like you said, he's dating a 17-year-old. It's basically grooming her.
Honestly. And just like, poor Knives. Like, there's so many points in the movie where she's like, hey, you were supposed to pick me up at the bus stop an hour ago. And he was like, how could I forget? And he's like, you just forgot.
I'm like, dude, either you just forgot or you just did not care.
He is just so horrible.
He's cheating. Not only that, he's cheating on her just for his fantasy romantic idea of what Ramona is.
Yeah.
And like I said, it doesn't really take anything from this. It's just like, oh my god, the more he was doing like with knives and stuff, it just, oh my god,
it was horrible.
It was like, you're so awful, man.
He's a horrible person, and it sounds horrible to say, but that kind of makes the movie fun.
Why?
Like, because it's like, because you don't want to root for him.
Yeah.
But the whole movie is centered around him. So then who do you root for?
And his like quest to defeat these seven
evil exes. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. No, but it is definitely true.
What I do like going back to the start of the movie, you really just get like thrown into it. Like they don't like give you any time for like
it's all just constant comic book energy thrown at you the whole time.
Like it's like you just flipped open a comic book and you're in it.
Yeah,
it's so incredible. I mean, like even like the introductions of each character, it's like as soon as they say like a little quip, and then they have the little title card next to them, saying like, oh, they're so and so, and this is their.
I love that use of text, not only in the screen with those characters, but like the little like, I don't know what you call them, but in the background.
Yes, just like there's it's big comic book energy.
Yes, absolutely.
It's everywhere. It's like anytime anyone gets hit or like anything, like it's just. It's awesome. I love the addition of it. It's so over the top is what it is.
But because they, like you said, they established that from the beginning, it's like it all fits.
It fits well. It does never feels awkward. Yeah. So I really like that. I like that you just
and that leads into the opening credits too, which I thought was really cool. Like the way like it's the band and it kind of just tracks back and then it's really just energetic.
It's very energetic, it's always moving. There's never a dull moment. For sure. Even though it's in Toronto, Canada.
So exactly. So literally a graphic novel come to life. That's from the beginning. That's all the way through the end. It's just a great sense of style that Edgar Wright brings. And then Aubrey Plaza came up. I was like, iconic. I love her character.
Line, she was like, if you're... Oh, wait. No, I'm getting.
Are you mixing up?
Yeah, I was gonna say a line from Kim where she was like, "If your life had a face, I'd punch it."
I love Kim.
I love the iconic lines that come out of her and Aubrey Plaza. Like they're just
so funny.
Best. Yeah,
I like you. Honestly, out of all the characters in the movie, I root for the women mostly.
Yeah, they're the only good ones.
I think the only guy that I rooted for was
young Neil.
Yes, him and his roommate. Wallace was his name.
Wallace. I love Wallace. I love him. I mean, even he did questionable.
He did questionable things, but he never he was always upfront about.
He knew his moral code was low, and he was upfront.
Right, he was upfront about. He knew like he wasn't the best person, and he was. But Scott's the one pretending to be the nice guy.
Yeah, in his mind, he's like, I'm still a nice guy, and it's like, no, you're not, sir.
And it gives me vibe. I think around this era too, there were quite a bit of movies that had this kind of nice guy trope. The other one that comes to mind is 500 Days of Summer.
Oh yeah.
When like in his mind, it's literally just like his fantasy of what
when
this girl's gonna be. When it's very clear from the beginning that's not what she's looking for.
She's very upfront about it, but somehow she ends up the villain in the movie.
She ends up the villain, even though he's really the. So it's interesting to me that this is kind of a thing that's explored.
Yeah.
But yeah. From the beginning, I was like, he needs to let Knives go. Just let her go.
There's nothing from good about
There's nothing good in the relationship.
There's nothing good.
There's nothing good from the beginning. The fact that you're 22 or 23 or whatever and being with the underage girl. And clearly you don't care about her. Like they say over and over, like he's just getting over envy.
Yeah,
Brie Larson's, but
not with a high school girl. Come on.
High school girl's not supposed to be a rebound, man.
I know. That's just
it's terrible. It's so bad, and she's so clearly like head over heels for you. It's just
I don't know. It's
oh my god.
But I will say, okay, so we eventually do start learning about Ramona because he's dreaming about her. And it's like his dream girl who's come to life, which is like, basically. What a power.
Just dream up.
To just dream up someone and then she just exists.
It just exists.
Wow.
And that's why Scott gets to do. Like, why does Scott deserve that?
Why does Scott get that power? That's honestly
he's like the least deserving person of this power.
Yeah, but it's So we finally meet Ramona. He sees her at the library, and
he sees her somewhere.
Yeah, that's the first place he sees her. She's like rolling around in roller skates, which I'm very jealous of because I desperately want to know how to roller skate, but I very much cannot.
Same here. I hold onto that rail for dear life.
We went roller skating once.
We did.
Never again.
No, that was a while ago. But it was very bad.
Yeah, I kept moving my feet, but I don't actually go anywhere. Like I just stay in place, and I'm like, it doesn't work.
And I went with my girlfriend one time, and we were both just like not having it. Although she was better than me, though. I mean, it's not hard to be better than me.
Yeah, it's not a good feat, but you know.
I'm down to try again. I'm probably gonna fail even worse. Though.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll get back on those skates.
That'd be fun.
Should be fun.
I would love to see that.
But yeah, so we meet Ramona. We see her at the party again.
Yeah.
And actually, I do want to talk a little bit about like the cuts between scenes. I don't know if it's
the transitions.
Yeah, leading up to the party or what it was that it was leading up to, but there was just so many like cuts in time. Oh my god,
yeah.
Which I thought was so interesting because it's like to him it was like you're seeing it through his perspective of just like time was just like melting together.
Yeah, it didn't really have time. Wasn't really like a
it wasn't real.
Nor was continuity either. Because like I mean, one of my favorite like punchlines in the movie is just every time someone comments on how shaggy his hair is, the next shot just cuts to him with his hat on. And he's like. Yeah.
Constant. Just like everything about this movie is like there are no rules to it. There are no laws that this movie abides by.
The only rule is that this is a comic book world.
That it is a comic book world, basically. And anything goes. And I think you need to expect that when you're watching.
If you're watching this with ideas and a sense of realism, this is not
the movie.
Not the movie for that.
But I love that. I love that this movie is just so out there and strange.
Yeah.
So
and it embraces it fully.
Embraces it absolutely.
Yeah.
So just like seeing those jumps. But then the party itself is fun. I love that it's just like. He is able to, because again it is set in Toronto, Canada, and I think that is another part of why, because I feel like it's a place where it's like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah,
because like that whole group, they all know everybody.
They do. Yeah.
You get to the party and you see that he's like he talks to this guy, he talks to who I'm going to refer to as Robbie because he's Robbie from New Girl. Okay. So he talks to Robbie, and he talks to Aubrey Plaza's character. He talks to like just those random people, and everyone has something to say about Ramona, even though she just got there.
Which my favorite part about that whole party scene, honestly, was when he was going around asking. He had that like really shitty drawing of Ramona, and then one guy's, "Oh yeah, that's Ramona Flowers." I was like, "How the fuck did you know?"
With hair like this,
it's like a stick figure, damn near. I'm like, "How did you know that was Ramona?"
How did you figure that out? Yeah, just everything about that scene. But again, you start adding that comedy element to it, which I love. You're always laughing with this movie, which is great. But it's just so like I guess it shows a little bit more about like they're in Toronto, Canada. Everyone knows everybody because it's small. I think I don't know what is the size
Isn't
of Toronto?
Toronto the capital?
I don't know, man. But Canada, in my head, Canada is like a small town. Like I feel like it's like full of small towns.
Toronto is the capital of Ontario, Canada, and Ontario, Canada is like. Look at that big section right there.
So I'm going to go with Toronto is a small town. I'm going to keep that in my head.
You're wrong, but that's fine.
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
So they're all from
If anyone's listening from Toronto, I apologize.
Yeah, I apologize. I've never actually been to Canada. So I've been on the border.
I would love to go to Toronto. It looks cool.
It does. I've always wanted to go to Canada, but I've never been.
Canada, yeah. Would love to do that.
One day. But yeah, so I guess, so we get through the party scene. The Pac-Man bit, I thought so stupid. It's so funny.
The way, because they established it first with how he's telling Knives about it,
and he's so confident about it.
So then now him going up to Ramona and telling her the same thing is like, okay, he's just trying to impress her the same way.
But it does not work the same way. Right. It does not have the same effects that it had on Knives.
No.
Because with Knives, he was like smooth because he's older.
He's older, yeah.
Yeah, which is creepy. But, and then with Ramona, he's like so like just he can't get his words out.
I know.
And it's so funny.
It's like she's the one that's kind of like in the control.
She's the controlling one here. Yeah. And he's like, I'll leave you alone forever now. Okay. She's like, okay.
She's like, all right.
He's like, I know I've messed this up severely and there's no coming back from it.
I know.
So he's like, I'm just gonna go now.
And then even I don't remember what point in the scene this was, but the other line that had me cracking up was someone asked him about Cam. He's like, oh yeah, me and Cam are good now. And she's like,
and yes, and you hear like I don't even know, it was like glass breaking or something in the background.
Yeah,
and she's just like death
intensely staring.
Yeah, I love that. It just Kim is so.
Kim is great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the scenes where she's like, and like falls out of the drum set every time. Yeah, she's great. But yeah, so we learn after the party, he is very, very much obsessed with Ramona, and it's like, I need to see her again. Orders the package to try and find her.
Yeah, for her to show up.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Can you just sign the package?" And of course, he won't let her go
because he's an awful person. Yeah. We've established that. So eventually, she says yes to him, that she'll like go on a date with him. unfortunately.
Unfortunately so.
Because Ramona, sweetie, you could do so much better.
Yeah.
Every girl in this movie can do so much better.
Honestly, yeah. Knives. Honestly, Ramona.
Yeah, he has that long list of girls, and I don't know why.
Dude, that was one of the main things I had to. Is like, why are all these girls obsessed with Michael Cera of all people?
Why?
Like, I'm sorry.
I mean, like, I love Michael Cera.
With peace and love. Like, I'm just saying, like, I don't get it.
Why? Yeah. Because, like...
Especially Scott as a character.
Scott, yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, Scott as a character is just so awful already. And then you put Michael Cera into the role of it, it's just, why?
Weird. It's just like... I get that we're in an alternate sense of reality with this comic book world.
Yeah, no rules.
Is he suddenly like the hottest man in the world in this universe? I guess because it's his
I guess
point of view.
Maybe it has to be. There's no other explanation for that.
Literally none. I don't get it.
But yeah, so we start learning a little bit more about Ramona. Yeah. Her 7 evil exes.
Because then they just start. Who was the first one that showed? Oh, that one guy. He had like eyeliner on. And his name was Matthew or something.
Matthew.
They were in that club.
Yeah, they were in like the middle of a performance, and he like crashes through. Originally, he got that email from him explaining the circumstances of like, it has come to my attention that we will be fighting soon, and it will be a duel to the death. And he's like, boring.
Literally,
he deletes the email, doesn't even read it, which would have given him a lot of context as to what was coming for him.
Honestly,
because he was so confused,
like what was going on. And he's like, I sent you an email.
He's like, you couldn't even read it? Yeah. And I love those moments in like during the fights where it's like they'll be fighting and they'll be like kind of like cut to like just like a regular conversation in the middle of it. You didn't read it? Oh, okay.
I explained everything in the email.
And then it just goes back to the fighting.
I know.
But yeah, so the fight scenes. They're absolutely absurd.
They're crazy, but they look so good for being 2010. It's just the visual effects are crazy.
The visual effects are insane. I think that it's so great. I really love the fight scenes.
Me too.
Because again, they're just so absurd and over the top and make no sense at all. And I love
it for that.
They're
love
great.
It for that. Absolutely.
They're so great.
Like this one with Matthew, like I remember he broke out into song at one point.
And he had like this goth girls, like army of goth girls behind him.
It looks really badass. Like it's just a straight up, it turns into like a straight up video game.
Yes.
Like a crazy like arcade like fighting game or whatever. And it's just it looks so cool. It's
cool. Very cool. It's very interesting to watch. I really like that.
Oh, one thing I'll mention about that scene before even the action was the other band that played before Scott's band. Yeah. And he was like, so sad. Thank you.
And that was the song. Yeah. And had Wallace not heckled him, they would have, I mean, I guess they did end up winning in the end because they were like disintegrated during the fight. But like the second song was like, okay, well this next song is I Hate You. I hope you die. And then it was like an actual song.
Was it on the soundtrack?
I don't know. I hope so. Okay, but the song lyric, like the sound of the songs were all great, like especially from like Sex Bobs. Like they sounded great. As long as you didn't pay attention to the words.
What were the words? I didn't even pay attention.
I'll take you on my garbage truck, and like that was it. Like that was the words. They're just so poorly written, but they sound so good because they're indie and like they're.
What's
like,
crazy is because like. You literally just prove your point because I just listened to it but didn't really.
But you don't pay attention to the words.
I pay attention, so it sounded good to me.
That's the key to every indie song. Is like as long as it sounds good and you just make sure that no one's paying attention to the lyrics because the lyrics never make sense to any of the songs.
Not really, no, not at all.
And that's the key though, and that's how you be an indie artist.
Basically, so, why don't we do that?
We should.
We can try it. But we have to learn how to sound good. Too.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Yeah, that's something that we that's the one thing we don't have. But we can write absurd lyrics. That's what we can do.
We can do that. We definitely excel at that. And just over the course of all this, you just see the amount of detail that Edgar Wright has in this. Like there's this one sequence where like the camera's like always moving. Even like they're transitioning between different places and it's like moving left to right.
Yes.
And it's just like the fact that you have to realize the planning that has to go into sequences like that is insane. Like, it has to be so precise to get those transitions right and everything. Oh, it's just like
so beautiful.
And then even like we were saying, there's so much going on in both the foreground and the background. So there's that one shot where Scott is like considering dumping knives, and in the back is the game that says like, continue.
Yeah.
And it's like counting down. I'm like,
there's so many elements to this. It's so intricate.
Yeah.
And so amazing. I know. It's so great.
It's just so cool when you see a movie where there's so much detail and like in every shot. It's just crazy.
So beautifully done. Yeah. I love it.
And then he comes home from that one fight, and it's like a sitcom for a second, like Seinfeld or something.
It turns into a sitcom where
you're such an asshole, Scott.
Okay, so there's like the sound of like Seinfeld.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. And then he goes into change for like 2 seconds and comes back out, and it's like, haha, like he's like, I don't want you gaying up the place, and then the laugh track, and it's
like, oh my god,
it's so stupid. I love it.
I love it. It just makes it more obvious. Like, oh god, Scott, he's just a horrible
person.
Yeah.
But Wallace is there. He makes things better.
I like Wallace a lot.
I love him.
I loved him in Home Alone too.
Anyway.
I swear to God, that was a joke. Don't.
Okay. Good. But yeah, so we get into the date with him and Ramona.
Yeah.
With the iconic line where he's like talking about bread and how much he loves garlic bread.
Oh, the garlic bread.
And she's like, you get fat. He's like, what do you mean? She's like, bread makes you fat. Bread makes you fat? Which is the same.
Bread is so good.
I will eat it. Oh, especially garlic bread.
Garlic bread is the best. And you mop it up with the salt. So good.
It's delicious.
Then, So was the next guy Chris Evans?
Mm-hmm.
I loved when he stepped out and they played the Universal music.
Yes.
It was just like, oh, this guy's a movie star.
It was so funny. I love Chris Evans in this part.
I know.
Because he's like this like badass like action star. And it's just, he's such a meathead, and it's so
it's funny though. And also like too, you consider the context. This was around like the first like the beginning of Marvel, like the MCU.
Was it?
Because I think First Avenger came out 2011.
That's really funny to think about.
2011. So this was before he was even Captain America, right before.
Wow, right before. They saw him in this and they were like, that's our Captain America right there. Yeah, that's the role that really...
That's the role that he was destined to play after
that
this.
And Not Another Teen Movie.
I never saw that movie.
So stupid.
He's in that?
Yes, he plays like the jockey
oh my God.
guy, and it's very stupid.
Oh, and before all that, he was Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
I don't know the name of those characters.
He played a lot of assholes before he was like
Captain, the nicest
person in America.
Purest person in the Marvel. Yeah.
That's funny to think about.
It is.
He the duality that he has.
And then after Marvel, he goes back to Knives Out, and he's like an asshole again.
Yes, he's very good at playing these characters, though. Yeah,
that's very true.
Wow,
but he's great in this part. I loved how they had Scott fighting against all his stunt doubles.
Yes, his stunt doubles, and like that's like part of it. Like you would think like, oh, it's like henchmen, but no, it's stunt doubles, and like it's just a bunch of guys who looked like him.
Just looked like Chris Evans.
Yeah, and he was like they're fighting, and he was like, I'm gonna go get coffee. Do you want anything? Yeah. And they're like, no, we're good. We're good. And it's just like, it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Scott somehow defeats all of the stunt doubles.
I didn't mention that from the last part. I think it's so crazy because we had no idea Scott had any like fighting ability whatsoever until the first fight. All of a sudden he like knows how to kick ass. Like
he's just, I guess I'm thinking maybe, one, it's a comic book and it's absurd, so be prepared for nothing to make sense.
Sure.
And then two, they do kind of set it up with like the scene where him and Knives are at the arcade, and they're playing like that ninja game, and he's like, they're very good at that game.
They're like too good at it.
Yeah, like they're hitting every move. They do like the whole like backflip.
Yeah, that's true. I do remember that.
So I guess in a way they do set it up.
Kind of set up a little bit.
Kind of has those skills, but it's still ridiculous that he has them
for sure.
But yeah, that whole scene is funny. His fighting abilities. But I like that in the end with, I think most of them, I'm pretty sure, like he defeats them not by like fighting, but just by being like clever.
Yeah, in a way. With Chris Evans, it ends with him trying to skate.
Yeah, he's like, you think you could do a thingy on that rail? Which I love the use of the word thingy. They use that a lot in this movie, and every time they do it, it's funny.
It's funny, yeah. It works every time
because you're working off of a script,
yeah.
And the word you chose is thingy. Like she's like, I think I see a thingy over there, and I love that. I love that they use it.
Really, I don't know. For me, like talking about all this has really made me accept a theory that I think this is all just like Scott's head
in his head, probably. Yeah. There, I think I have seen that theory before floating around the internet, and I think that's.
Are there any parts in this movie that he's not in? Right, no, maybe.
I don't think so. He's in every scene.
He's in every scene, isn't he?
Every scene, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Or most of them. I just can't think of one where he's not there off the top of my head.
I don't think there is a scene where he's not there, because like, even if you do like cutaways to like different people, like it's always on the phone. Yeah. And he's on the other end of the phone.
Yeah, right.
Or he's like in the room with the phone. So yeah, he's always in the movie.
I think he's always. So I think that's the theory I have for it.
Definitely, probably. Makes sense.
And then with that action, I just love. We've talked about action before. I just love like the long takes that you get here, especially like in that Chris Evans fight where he's fighting all the stunt doubles. It like doesn't cut away from any of them, and I think it's looks really good, really well done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when you see Brie Larson show for the first time, you're like, you know, she's gonna do some iconic shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
because they keep like leading up to it. It's like she was the girl that broke his heart, and like
she's the lead of this hugely successful band now.
And you slowly learn more and more about her and how intimidating she is, and how just wow.
And then we eventually do get that iconic moment, like we were saying, with now it's on Spotify, with her singing that song,
the Metric song. But it's Black Sheep. I love that song so much. It's okay, but before that, there were two scenes that I just really wanted to like mention because they were so funny.
I'm kind of skipping around. That's not bad.
So the one scene where he like Knives comes over to the house and she's and he's like, "Oh, Scott," and he's like in the background and he runs off to the side and he closes the door a little bit and then you see him just dive through the window. It kills me every time.
Honestly, probably my favorite. Laugh in the movie.
I don't know if you have ever seen like the background to like shooting that scene.
No.
It's because it's all one take.
Really?
It is all one take, and you got to look for it. I would recommend everyone watch it.
I didn't do like any behind the scenes research on this one this week.
So much funnier. Because I like saw it on Twitter because it just popped up on my feed one time and I could not stop laughing. It made it even funnier to watch
it made the scene funnier now that like you knew what went behind it.
Yeah, it's because it was all one take. Like there was not a cut in there. Oh my god, it was so.
And then he like reaches in after to like grab his coat or something.
Yes. He's like, oh, he's not here right now. She sees him jump through the window. So yeah, that was a very funny scene that I absolutely adore.
I did forget to mention. Oh my god, that's
that scene, and then also him going to see Aubrey Plaza at the coffee shop, and she's getting censored the whole time.
That's so funny.
And he's like, "How are you doing that with your mouth?" She's like, "Never mind how I'm doing it." And she's cussing him out the whole time. She's like, "I told you to stay away from Ramona." Yeah. And you didn't listen. So Aubrey Plaza very much hates
Scott, which I think is so funny.
Valid.
Yes. I'm like, kind of represents what we all feel watching
the whole audience.
Yes.
Yeah. So Aubrey Plaza's a funny character. I liked that scene too. But so we see not Aubrey Plaza, Brie Larson's character.
Yeah.
Envy Adams. Envy Adams.
Well, you didn't mention
my hair.
It was kind of your inspiration for today's
look. For my hair. No, not the shirt. The shirt was a Scotch.
The hair look then.
But the hair look. I did the little devil
very impressive.
Thingies. But I don't actually know how to do hair. So if it's awful, please don't tell me.
I won't say anything.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, no, that song is iconic.
Dude, and I got it. Like, I remember when everyone was freaking out when that was posted, and I was like, I didn't remember it much from the first time I saw it, but then I saw it, like, I get why people are excited because this sequence.
I think about that song every day.
Every day.
Every single day of my life, and I will never not think about it.
It's valid. It's very valid, and I love the use of the split screen. How every time it splits, it's timed with the song.
Yes.
It's so just works so perfectly.
It's so good. And like her vocals and like the way she's dancing, just everything about it is amazing. I love it.
For sure.
But yeah, so then after the performance, you know, we find out like it's like Todd is the next boyfriend.
I love Todd.
Todd so the vegan.
Much. His superpower is literally being vegan, and I love this dude. Is my favorite. Honestly, might be my favorite character in the movie.
About that whole his whole character, is hilarious. The whole sequence with him, the vegan police.
The vegan.
It's so ridiculous.
And then he was like, what was the first thing his first like violation? He ate gelato.
Yeah, he ate gelato. He was like, it's not vegan. He was like, milk and eggs, bitch. And then the second one, he was like, and you ate chicken or something. He was like, chicken's not vegan. It's so funny.
I love it.
And again, that's like another way of like Scott defeating him by being clever. He was like, yeah, I actually put half and half in this one. I just thought really hard about putting it in that one. It's so funny.
Like first, like I like they're like talking about. I don't remember what led to this metaphor he was trying to go for when they were in the alley. He was talking about
the cleaning.
Yeah, the cleaning one.
By Monday, you'll be like, or the cleaning lady's gonna clean you up or something. And he was like, but wait, why Monday? And he was like, because it's the weekend now.
It's the week.
And she's gonna come back on Monday to start working. And he was like,
she does.
Okay. Yeah. She does. Yeah. That whole thing is just so ridiculous.
And then I liked the little change in this. It wasn't really like the fighting like we had saw before, but it was like the battle between like the bass players.
Yes, that was.
So that was kind of a little way to switch it up a little bit. Yeah. Because one of the things I will say that maybe I would have liked this a little more is, as fun as like all the battles are, some of them do feel a little too similar. I would say. So I like how, I mean, they all do feel like unique battles, I will say. But I think when you have one right after the other, they can all kind of feel... They're
the same thing over and over again. Yeah, I get that.
So...
so it was nice to kind of see him switched up a bit.
A little bit.
That fight scene. Also, him knocking the highlights out of Knives' hair.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's like, I'm not afraid to hit a girl.
And then young Neil's like, you knocked the highlights out of her hair.
And he was devastated. It's just that whole thing is.
Which I will say with Knives reminds me, I love the little mental breakdowns she has with like.
I love it, and her friend just being like, she just doesn't care. She's like, this is ridiculous. Like, why am I here?
Yeah.
I love her friend. It's very funny.
It's very authentic.
Yeah, but actually, I want to talk more about Knives, like her little redemption where she's like, I'm getting him back, and she decides to text young Neil, and so she shows up to the bar and he's like freaking out because and he, I think it was Ramona, like asked her, was like, so how do you know her? And he, in his head, his wheel of quick answers that he goes to, and so it was like, who, her? And I gotta pee. And he was like, I'm gonna go pee on her. There's so many stupid moments in this movie that just make me laugh out loud.
It's craziness. The cleverness in the script is just, it's so funny.
So well written. That scene was really funny. But,
so stupid.
But yeah, so that was the third fight.
Yes.
Third fight that we see.
That was only the third one?
Yeah, that was the third fight.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So then the next fight was with I don't remember her name. Mae Whitman's the actress, but I don't remember the character's name. But she I mean, I think compared to the other exes, one of my favorites, but I
slightly problematic, but she was badass. So it's
why problematic?
That whole thing about like when it goes, that's skipping ahead a little bit. So the first time we see her, she's like attacking him and he's still like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
He's still not 100% sure. Because like he went through that first battle and he was had no idea what was going on. She explained it to him. He still didn't get it. Chris Evans had to explain it to him. And then he was like, okay, I'm starting to get it. And then he meets her and he's like, no clue, because the whole time he's like, so I have to defeat your 7 equal ex-boyfriends. She's like, exes. And she keeps correcting him. She keeps correcting
not only her but Ramona too. She keeps saying exes, and he's like, why do you keep saying exes?
And he doesn't understand. He's still so confused. And then we finally get like a real fight scene between them because he's like, I don't want to fight a girl. Like, girls are soft.
So then Ramona's like, I'll fight her.
And so Ramona's gonna fight her when we get to that scene. and he again, you see it in his head where he's like doesn't get it, gets it. And he's like, and she was like, I was just a little bi-curious at the time, and she was like, well, I'm a little bi-furious. That whole thing, that whole storyline there is just slightly problematic. And that is one of the parts that I'm like, okay, this movie is not flawless. It definitely has its issues there. It was just a little slightly problematic. But again, she's a badass, so I'll forgive it.
You'll forgive her for that,
because that whole fight scene is really funny.
It's funny, and the way it ends with touching
for her weak spot,
the back of her knee, and the way she just dies is kind of interesting.
Okay, yeah, I hate that was the way that took her out. I hate that's what defeated her. But that was
kind of funny.
Yeah, that whole character. It was not my favorite scene of the movie, I will say that much.
No. I think one of the weaker fights still had some things in it that were fun.
But, it was fun. Yeah, it was funny to see like Ramona like having to physically fight for Scott, because he was like, I can't hit a girl. Or at least he has that moral compass. At the very least.
Once, the only time.
But then immediately after that, he just is like, he's like, is there anyone you haven't slept with?
Yeah, and it's kind of like,
and it's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, I'm like, is there anyone you haven't like cheated on?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, look at your checklist of like all these girls.
I'm like, I'm sorry, you're not like the moral compass here.
Yeah, you're not a moral compass here, so let's not say.
Yeah. But and then the next fight is with those twins. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the 5th/6th fight. So there's 5th and 6th axis.
Oh, because that explains it. Right.
Yeah. Right. So it's the amp battle, which in theory sounds really cool and really fun, but would just be awful to be there.
Oh, to listen to and like
to have to listen to like 2 different amps at the same time, and they're playing 2 different. God, I would. My head would explode. I could not take that. That is too much going on. Absolutely not. But like in theory, it sounds.
I mean, in theory, there's a lot going on here. It looks
visually
with
it's
those
awesome.
Dragons fighting the
gorilla thing,
whatever thingy is. It's crazy. First, the song they're playing sounds pretty great.
Yeah,
and then, I just loved.
The visual effects.
The visual effects, the quick cuts, like just. I mean, this whole movie's just energy, right? But like. I mean, there's these sequences in particular kind of have their own energy too. That it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's a new take on the fight scene, so that's nice to see. It's a little bit updated. I mean, it was cool to see. Yeah, I guess
that one. You know what's crazy though is like even though that one's like visually pretty great, it's not a fight that I remember that much.
It's not my favorite. No, I love the vegan fight.
That vegan one to me, honestly, it
really takes the cake. Yeah, it's great.
I really think my 2 favorites were the one with Chris Evans and the one with
those were my favorites.
With Todd. Those were like
Todd the vegan.
Yes, those were my.
Didn't you know?
Oh my god,
Todd's a vegan. It's so ridiculous. Oh, great.
And then you see more. Then you see Gideon show up, Jason Schwartzman.
Yes, we start learning about his character because the whole time they keep talking about G-Man, who is like the guy who's like signing all these artists and is the reason why Envy is now Envy, and like her band is taken off. Clash of Demon Head was the name.
Oh shoot, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I know my stuff. He was the reason why, like, she left and found Todd in the first place. So, like, literally everything bad that's happened to Scott is because of Gideon. Yeah. It's all because of him.
It's kind of like, he's kind of like been the problem from the beginning.
He's kind of, in a way, been... Well, I mean, he is the puppeteer for the whole league of evil exes.
Oh, yeah.
He put them together to get Ramona back.
Basically.
And
then the whole time I just love how it's like Ramona's like I just keep going back to him, like I can't control it, and she's like you kind of think in the sense like a lot of people say that because it's like they always feel like they're gravitated towards that one person, but then you learn
and then she's literally like he's chipped her. And she can't get him out of her head, so that's again problematic. Gideon is not a great person either, so no, at least that final boss is Gideon because it's like a worse person.
It's a worse person than him, and then because Scott he apologizes, blah blah.
He has that whole I guess redemption arc, which Fun fact, I don't know why I wrote this down, but I was really excited to like talk and to like see this.
Yeah.
But one of the bouncers, when he gets to the club finally, he's like ready to fight Gideon. And not the first bouncer who's like password, and he's like whatever, which I thought was really funny. He was like whatever, and he's like you're good. But the second bouncer, one of the guys is the evil boyfriend Jesse from My Babysitter's Vampire.
Oh Lord.
If anyone was wondering why that guy looked so familiar, that's where he's from.
I think you were the only one.
I saw him and I was like, I know who that is.
You're like, that might be my favorite character in the film.
Favorite character in the film, yeah. Because he has such a stupid face. I just want to punch him. I love him.
Really, truly have no idea who you're talking about.
Jesse. He's a bad guy. You should watch. Have you ever seen My Babysitter's Vampire?
No, that's why I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, at least watch the movie.
It's a movie too.
It's a movie at first, and then they turned it into a show with the worst cliffhanger because it got canceled after 2 seasons, which was like they like blew up the town, and then it was like, well, we'll never know. We'll never know what happens. It makes me so upset. Oh, I'm still furious about that.
I can't look at you right now.
I can't look at me right now. I can't look at myself ever.
All right, moving on. Where were we? Oh yeah, the Gideon. At first, I kind of liked Gideon only before we find out all that stuff because I was like, because I still hated Scott.
Yeah.
But then like you find out what Gideon did, and you're like, oh, I kind of hate you both.
You're also a very bad person. So yeah, so I guess we get to, and Knives jumps out and starts fighting Ramona for like stealing her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then Scott's like, wait. Well, she technically didn't, and then he gets like put in this place where she was like, you cheated on me, and then she was like, you cheated on me, and he was like, well, technically I cheated on her with you.
And she's like, it's the same thing.
She's like, what's the difference? He was like, you weren't wrong. And he's not understanding that he did a bad thing.
Yeah.
He's still not getting it, and so again, he's just an awful person. So by the end of, I guess he levels up because he learns one lesson, and then he's killed.
Yeah.
Thank God. He had it coming.
Yes.
And then while he's dead, he's like, I feel like I learned something.
Oh my God.
He learns the power of self-love.
The power of like love or something.
Yeah.
It's like Scott earned the power of self-respect.
Self-respect, yeah. Which, self-respect is important. I guess that is a good step in a journey to becoming a better person. And please, Scott, take that journey to become a better person.
Please.
I'm begging you.
I hope so.
And then he was able to defeat Gideon because he now had self-respect. And he was no longer fighting for Ramona. He was fighting for himself. Which in a way does make sense because it's like, again, Gideon is the reason why he was heartbroken by envy.
It's the reason why,
the reason why he had to fight all those people, the reason why Ramona is no longer with him, because he's like stolen her back. So it's just like, the reason why he's like lost his band too, because they resigned.
He signed them.
Yeah. So it's just like everything bad that's happened to him. Yeah, and replace him. Which I love that the second time around he does come back a little bit better for person because he's like, guys, if I'm being honest, you guys sound a lot better without me. And young Neil, you've done amazing. From here on out, you will now be called Neil. And he's like, wow.
Oh, thank you.
He's so touched by that. I love, young Neil. He's my favorite character in this whole movie.
He's great.
But yeah, so he does become a little bit better of a person by the end of it.
Yes, yeah.
We do see a bit of a transformation there. A slight one. It's a slight one, but it's there.
That's something. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, breadcrumbs.
Breadcrumbs.
Of something.
Exactly. It's a start.
Yeah, that last fight is pretty crazy with them two.
Yeah.
Because I do think it takes a lot from all the other fights and kind of put them together, which is really fun. And then, I mean, you mentioned too that video game that Knives and Scott play.
Yes.
Like it really kind of.
It really comes into play here because then by the end of it, when he does finally defeat Gideon, and he's like, you may have defeated me, but can you defeat yourself?
Oh.
And then it's like, mega Scott. And then they like lead up to like, it's like, this is like the final boss battle. Because they even talk about it while they're playing the video game. And he's like, I can never beat this guy. And so you expect it to be like this like really tough battle. And then they cut away to like where they're outside and he's like, we can totally get brunch. Yeah, this place is great. It's like, be good, okay?
He's like a sweetheart.
Yeah, he was like, oh, that guy's awesome. And they become friends.
Which I was so happy that it was just like that because I was like, this point, I'm like tired. Like
I'm tired of all the fighting.
Yeah, because like I said, this movie is just so much energy that at a point it's like you're kind of fatigued. Yes. Like, you need a break.
Yes,
and like. And that, but it makes sense. Like, you would think, okay, he's gonna have to. The true like person, like the strongest person you have to defeat is like yourself.
You
know, and that's just like,
oh, he's like, oh, that was easy. Yeah, like he's a cool guy. I'm not gonna fight him. That was awesome. Yeah. I loved that.
Yeah, and then. Basically, what I think is just Knives. I think is the real queen of this movie.
She's too cool for him.
She really is. She says at the end, and it's like, yeah,
you absolutely are. You deserve so much better. Everyone has told her that throughout the whole movie. Like, please run away now. You're better. You can do so much better.
Yes, and everyone's telling Scott break up with her. Like,
yes, and he's like, but it's hard.
I was like, you fucker. Anyway,
yeah, but I guess in the end, he gets the girl. So
yeah, I was just like,
which. If it were any other main protagonist character, you'd be like, yeah.
But with him, I was just kind of like...
It's like, all right.
Why Ramona?
I guess he did learn a lesson, and he did change a bit in the end.
A bit, but you got to work more than that.
But you got
to do more work than that.
He has to put in the work.
You gotta go therapy or something.
We hope. I hope he has put in the work and he's become a better person
by now. Yeah.
By now, hopefully it's been 10 years. So.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's learned something.
I remember thinking to myself, this would obviously be a really cool video game to play out. Mm-hmm. And then I saw there was a Scott Pilgrim game like on the Switch and stuff. It's not the same thing.
Oh, okay.
But it looked fun. I'm like, I kind of want it.
You should get it.
Yeah.
So then I can play it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do. But yeah, just some quick little things I wanted to say. Unfortunately, a little negative, but I just want to kind of get these out the way. I like definitely because there's so much going on. There are a lot of lines that are thrown out, and a lot of them hit, but some of them kind of fall flat for me. And like I said, because some of the action, the style of it's so similar. Some of those X's I feel like are kind of like forgettable a little bit, compared to like I said, like my favorite ones were Chris Evans and like the Todd character. The other ones I don't think weren't quite as strong for me, even though they are fun to watch, but I'm not gonna really
especially like the twins, like I remember very little.
I just remember the crazy dragon,
that is all I remember.
And the gorilla whatever thing. And then I guess this isn't as big as a flaw, but I can't really say I cared about the characters that much here. And I'm not saying they're not. I mean, they're not trying to like give a lot of these development to these characters.
Yes,
but you know what I mean. So it's not a big thing, but like definitely like some of the characters I really did like were like Aubrey Plaza's characters. So they're just characters you like and you want to spend time with because they're fun. Which it makes sense like for Edgar Wright, because even in Baby Driver, as much as I love that movie, you don't really get a lot of development, but because you just like them because they just have really fun personalities and all that. So it's not really as much of an issue, but I guess just for me, like, you don't care about Scott. Didn't really care much about Ramona, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're just fun to watch.
They're fun characters to watch because they have their weird quirks and they're all just very random. But again, there's no real character arc. There's no, I mean, they try and give they give him one in the last like 10 minutes of the movie, but that's about it. It's just, I don't know. They're all very random together. So I see what you're saying.
But it also, I mean, for a comic book world that they're setting up, it kind of fits. You know what I mean? So it's not really something I fault him for much.
It's
just something I thought about. But did you have any final little notes you wanted to?
So just another couple of cons, which I said, like, there's there's some issues with it. Well, one, there are definitely a lot of racist jokes in this movie.
Refresh my memory. Do you remember?
There, some of them were towards Knives. There was, I think it was like Todd like said something about. I don't even know the line he said, but he said something racist to Knives, and then he hit her. Which like I guess shows that he's just a terrible person.
Even though I love Todd.
I love Todd, but he's a horrible person. And then again, just like the LGBTQ rep in this movie got some issues there. But I mean, I love Wallace.
And I do love Wallace. Pride Month.
And during Pride Month, how dare you?
How dare you?
So those were some slight downfalls of this movie, I will say.
Yeah, I get that.
But overall, I still thoroughly enjoy this movie. It makes me laugh. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining. It's real entertainment.
And just entertainment is just energy from start to finish.
Absolutely.
And I came away just from this watch just really impressed with like the amount of detail and like precision that Edgar Wright brought to this, which is, like I said, I I remember, I think the other movie I mentioned that does this that we've talked about before was Knives Out, where like every shot and edit just feels so precise and purposeful, and I loved it for that. Yes. So I really dug it this time as well. Did you want to go and give your score?
Sure. I'm kind of torn. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm kind of like teetering on the edge.
Explain your thought process.
So I love this movie. Okay. And so for that, I would give it an 8. But again, I'm gonna give it an 8.
8? Or are you between like a 7?
I was like a 7 and an 8 is where I was at. What are you?
Well, raise your mug because I'm giving it an 8 as well.
Woo!
Yeah. I think before for me it was like a high 7. But I think it just like for me, just watching it, just seeing like all the effort that went into this and how well it kind of came out.
Yeah.
Based on the way he wanted to do it and the world he wanted to create. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I always come in with like after taking my notes and having a set score, and it always changes after talking about it. Because I wrote down a 7, but after talking about it, I realized how much I love this movie.
I get it. I mean, I did the same thing. Not for the same reasons, but we did Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
I came into those with honestly like 5s, and then we talked about
and they went
these
down.
Are 4s.
Yeah, they definitely went down. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, the Scores are always subject to change.
Yeah, of course.
And discussion.
I mean, we just do scores just to kind of like have an idea of what our thoughts are. But I mean, scores are scores. Like you enjoy a movie either. I mean, I remember these critics, Ebert and Siskel, I think, that was the name of their show, and they would just do like thumbs up or thumbs down. If you like it or you don't like it.
Wow,
and it's just so simple. You know what I mean? So it's just it's just how you do it. But like, it's just whether you like a movie, you enjoy the movie, or you don't like the movie. We like it.
Yes.
It's still
So. Period. Done.
And that's on period. So that is our discussion on Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Spoiler warnings.
Oh my god.
Maybe next time.
You know what I should do when I edit this? This doesn't really help for the audio case, but for the video case, I could put it on the screen.
Yes.
But for audio, I don't really know.
So you're gonna have to figure it out.
You're just gonna have to watch the video version to find out, I guess, if you don't want to spoil for you.
But that is it for this episode. So some information about next week's episode. No.
Right. Basically, what she means is right now, I mean, next week we will not be having an episode. We're both going to be out of town doing our own thing. So we're just going to take a short break.
Just a week break. I know you'll miss us a lot. You could rewatch our 12 other episodes.
Yeah, well, this 13 now.
Episodes now.
Yes, so that's 13 hours of content
yes, there. I'm sure all of you have missed a week or two.
Exactly. So, it's fine. It's fine. So if you want to play catch up or whatever, or if you haven't seen some of the movies we talked about, you can watch those movies, watch those past episodes. But yeah, so no episode next week, but the week after, as of right now, we will be back for that. If anything does change, we'll
let y'all know.
We'll let you know on our social medias and stuff. But as of right now, we'll come back the week after next. And we do have our movie, though, for that episode. And Martha, do you want to go ahead and say it?
So excited. The Boss Baby.
Ideal.
Yes. I'm so excited.
So the Boss Baby Family Business
is coming out
in theaters. Yeah. So we will be talking about this a few days after that one comes out.
Yeah, the first one.
We'll be talking. Yeah, sorry. Clear. So what I mean is, when we do this episode on the first Boss Baby, it will be a few days after the second one is released, and then after this first one, we'll see the second one, and maybe we'll give y'all our thoughts on that because I know y'all want to hear.
You've never seen the Boss Baby.
No,
I have seen it several times.
So this is going to be very interesting from the perspective of someone who's seeing it for the first time versus someone who's a veteran watcher,
an avid viewer of the Boss Baby.
She's involved with the entire franchise. What's the name of the TV show on Netflix?
Boss Baby Back in Business.
Yes. So
good show.
She knows all the lore, all of it. It's all the Boss Baby lore. I'm going in there as someone who's fresh to the franchise. I know I have a lot to unpack here. So I'm just very excited to delve into this. It's going to be a very, very expansive deep dive.
Oh, absolutely.
Into the world that the Boss Baby is creating.
I know that you're joking, but there's actually a lot to talk about with this movie.
Okay. Watch it be like our longest 2-hour episode yet.
It's a whole special.
All right. Anyway, I mean, special. Sure. But yeah, that'll be our next movie. But like I said, that won't be for next week. That'll be the following week. So just keep in mind on that. Yeah. We are on every single audio streaming platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can listen to us on there, and we are also on the YouTube. So
the YouTube.
where you like to watch all your favorite YouTubers who did terrible things but are now back
because they made an apology video. We should have one ready, and like have like bleeps and like.
Oh yeah.
Like those new commercials, not new anymore, but those like Uber Eats commercials with
Yes.
Oh my god.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm totally blanking on the names. Okay, well, point is like they like cut and do like, we're eating out from like Mexican restaurant and I'm getting the burrito. And like, we need to do that for like an apology video and get ready just in case.
So how would that work for an apology video?
I don't know. We are so very sorry for
whatever. Let's get not having an episode next week or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Hitting the slate down too loud and scaring Martha.
It scares me every time.
It's scary, but it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Anyways, you'll find all that on our YouTube channel.
How did we get here?
I don't know. I know what it means.
Continue.
In a Wider Screen Podcast, we are on YouTube. And finally, you can follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at In a Wider Screen. On our TikTok, we like to post little highlights from the episodes. And Instagram and Twitter, keep y'all posted on updates when episodes are ready. And things like this, where if we don't have an episode next week, and
we'll let y'all know.
Blah, blah, blah. All that good stuff. Yep. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, for listening. You have anything final?
We love and appreciate you all.
Yes. If you made it to the end, sincerely thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Grazie. Grazie.
Grazie.
Bye.
Bye.